Good day, ladies and gentlemen, my dear friends and family of mine, my phenomenal followers. I want to wish you an absolute, rockin', phenomenal, beautiful day today. I want to thank you for following me, and I'm going to continue to provide great, inspiring content on a daily basis. I want to share with you today something that's been on my mind the last while, and that is one word called fear. Fear. What does fear really do to a person? What does fear mean to you? What does fear do when you're fulfilled with fear and it causes you to think scary things, or causes you to think, how am I going to live through today? Or how am I going to get through this day with a fearful mind, which causes you to feel very burdened and wonder how things are going to work out. Folks, I'm talking from experience here, because fear is real. Fear is adamant in our world today. Fear in the human mind is normal qualities of a human being. But it's how we deal with that fear that can cause repercussion in my own life. I just wrote a couple things down here today about the word fear, because I see how it overtakes a life. I see how it overtakes one's mind. And like I said, I'm talking from experience, because I've lived a fearful life myself, and I had to change it, because fear was getting me depressed. It was causing anger in my own life. It was causing me to become very bitter against life, just by that simple word called fear. But I wrote something down here, and I just like to read it here. Fear is an emotion induced by perceived danger or threat, which causes psychological changes and ultimate behavior change, such as fleeing, hiding, or freezing from perceived events that are happening in your life or my life. Isn't that so true? When a person is fearful, they don't want to go out. They don't want to do anything for that matter, because that fear grips them. It's a hardcore grip that is hard to break. It is very tough to break. But I want to share with you how I personally broke that fear in my own life. I used to live a life where I was afraid to say anything to anybody, because I was always afraid that, what if I say something wrong? Or what if I do something wrong? Or what if I do something that people don't approve of? I was living under serious fear. It gripped my lifestyle like you wouldn't believe. It caused me serious headache, quite literally, as it was motivating my mind to think negative in a very bad way, causing me destruction in my own life. I remember one night I was laying in bed, and a verse came to me from John, which states, "And the Lord thy God shall hold thy right hand, saying unto thee, Fear not, I will help thee." I remember that day like it was an hour ago. Like I said, I was laying in bed at about midnight. Fear was overruling my mind. I was gripped with fear. because I was worried about the next day as I had some type of job interview, and I was fearful. What if I say or do the wrong things here today? I couldn't sleep. I was worried, sick, with that fear in my mind, causing circumstantial division within my own heart and life. I remember, though, I laid that all to rest that night. And I'm not saying that fear just left me. That's not what I mean. I still have fear in my life. But I was able to deal with it that night because I seen how that fear had overruled my life for many, many years. I went back to the part. I should maybe give you a little backstory here. I grew up with a father who was very, very abusive, physically, emotionally, and mentally. And that's where that fear started. But as I was laying in my bed there, I went back to the origin of where that fear started. I remember it clear as day. I was 5 years old. I went back to the hog barn I was working at with my father. He was throwing things at me, screaming at me. And there I was, 5, sitting on a chair crying, because as a child, that fear gripped my mind. As I pictured in my mind at night, when I went back to the original part of where that fear started in my heart and life, I saw in my mind what was happening. What my father was saying, what he was doing, how he looked. And that's where that fear became tremendously negative in my own mind. Although as I went to bed that night, I wanted to prove myself and prove the world wrong. That you don't have to live in fear the rest of your life because of an instance that happened in the past. Do you? I found out the hard way after living in fear for 30 years. I made a decision that night. Why would I keep living in fear because of something that happened in the past? I can't change the past. I can't change the future, but I can only change the way I think in the present time, which is happening now. Although I just left all that fear in the past, and like I said, I'm not saying that I don't have fear today, because I would be lying to you then. But folks, fear is what grips the mind. Fear is what causes health problems. Fear is the number one solution in this world today that will only cause negative feelings. I found out though, once I simply put the fear in the past and just be a positive thinker, just be inspired on a daily basis, and motivate my mind with positivity, that the fear that I used to live under is no longer there. The fear that I used to wake up with on a daily basis no longer grips my mind, as now I see how it can really attain a person's thinking, or how it can really go into the mind and you believe things that aren't really there or really happening. Folks, love your life. Live in the present time. It's inspired me today to share this because that fear is a number one killer in this world today within the mind, and the number one cause of serious health problems because of a simple fact that fear is an emotion And it's normal that we as humans have fear. But it's the way you allow that fear to operate your life. It's how you live in fear that makes things reality to you. Let's live our lives in the present time. Let's motivate our thoughts with positivity. And last but not least, leave that fear in the past, because it seems to overrule one's mind, including mine, if I do not get to the core of where that fear initially started. Love you all, my dear friends, followers, family. Have an absolute rock on, phenomenal good day.